Tuned to NBC broadcasting from studios located at Richmond Hill in Kingstown, programming for the 29th day in the month of April. And this is our Iron Soufriere morning edition. This morning we have with us Roderick Stewart from the UWI Seismic Research Centre, Belmont Observatory. He'll be providing an update to us this morning as it relates to the Soufriere volcano. In addition, we're expecting that the Honourable Prime Minister will be joining us by phone this morning. So we look forward to having you as company during the course of the morning, and we hope that you'll be able to stay with us. So, we have seismologist, volcanologist Roderick Stewart with us on standby. Good morning to you, Rod, and welcome back.
Thanks, it's good to be back.
Yes, tell us what is the latest as it relates to the Soufriere volcano? What transpired over the last 24 hours?
Okay, well, the volcano itself has been quiet. We had very few, very few of the volcanic earthquakes that we were used to. No tremor is taking place, so the volcano remains quiet, which is good. But the big activity over the last 24 hours is overnight we've had several lahars on, I think, all the flanks of the volcano. There's been heavy rainfall overnight. I think the rainfall is still ongoing, and our seismometers have been picking up signals from lahars in several locations. So we suspect there are lahars in all the major drainage valleys, and that these may have caused quite a lot of damage as they pass down from the volcano to the sea. And at the moment, the signals are dying down a little bit, but it really depends on the rainfall. If there's more rain to come, we could expect more lahars during the day.
All right. There were persons on social media reporting hearing noises, and there were also some thunderstorms as well. So just wanted to get some clarity for you that there is nothing otherwise happening at Soufriere this morning, at least not that you're aware of.
No. There's nothing happening. Hang on the telephone.
All right. So while we let you get the telephone there for a bit, of course, we are bringing to you this morning's Iron Soufriere morning edition, and Roderick Stewart, the scientist joining us from the Belmont Observatory. Go ahead, Roderick.
Yeah, people heard noises, and we heard noises here as well at Belmont. It is actually the lahars going on and thunder and lightning associated with the rain. The lahars consist of a lot of material in the water. Richard Robertson is currently down in Richmond having a look at these, and it brings trees down with it. And the amount of material that is being brought down, anytime the lahar goes round a bend or goes over some topography, it will make thumping noises, basically, and these can be heard quite a long way away. So people would have heard either the lahars themselves, or they would have heard thunder and lightning from the heavy rainfall.
And with the ongoing heavy rainfall, how long do you suspect that we'll continue to have lahar flows?
Well, it really depends on the rainfall. I'm not a meteorologist. I was having a quick look at the radar, and there's still a lot of rain around. But we will have lahars as long as we have the heavy rainfall. And then there will also be flooding. I mean, it takes quite a while for the water to come off the mountain. So I suspect we're going to have the effects of flooding for much of the day today. So, people are going to have to be very wary of this.
All right, so just want to remind persons to be careful today, and we are experiencing quite generous amounts of rainfall, at least in Kingstown today, and I believe it's quite similar across the island and across the Grenadines as well. Now, going forward, what are some of the things that you'll be keeping a specific eye on at Soufriere as we go forward in this period?
Well, in this period, as I said at the beginning, the volcano is quiet. We're watching very closely for any signs of it reawakening. It does seem to be going back. I won't say to sleep yet, because that's a bit too hopeful, but it does seem to be quietening down. And we're watching very careful for any reversal of that. So we'll be using all our equipment. I suspect we will use the opportunity in the next few weeks to install some new equipment that was replacing some of the stuff that was destroyed in the eruption, and watching closely to see if anything indicates a restart of activity. That's really our major task in the coming months, I hope.
All right. There's some terms that we tend to hear with the reports, with the scientific updates, volcanic tectonic, and these sort of terms. Maybe you can simplify just a couple of them. We expect to have the Prime Minister joining us by phone in just a short while. But maybe in the meantime, you can simplify some of these terms that we tend to hear with the scientific updates.
I mean, basically, we have different types of earthquakes that we see at this and other volcanoes. And those terms are basically those types of earthquakes: volcano-tectonic, hybrid, long period, tremor. Often we throw these things around. But the important thing is that we can classify what we see into these different categories, and then the categories themselves tell us what's going on at the volcano. So the volcano-tectonic earthquakes happen when rock is cracking. That usually happens before an eruption. The long period earthquakes happen when magma is moving. So they tend to happen during an eruption or maybe just before an eruption. And the tremor is usually happening when explosions are going on. So it's just a way of classifying the earthquakes that we see and then using that classification to give us a handle on what's happening at the volcano.
All right, and we have joining us via phone this time Prime Minister Dr. the Honourable Ralph Gonsalves. I believe the Prime Minister would have some questions for you as well. Good morning to you, Prime Minister.
Good morning. Good morning to 705, and good morning to all listeners, and good morning, Roderick.
Good morning.
And the Professor Robertson Richie is a very brave man to be down in Richmond at this time.
Yeah, he's got his Wellington boots on and he's keeping away from the water. I've got him on the radio, so I'm making sure he doesn't do anything foolish.
Okay, all right. Because, I mean, we have mixed news this morning. We have the quietude continuing.
Yeah,
and then we have these mud flows.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, they're two very separate things. The actual danger from the volcano itself is low at the moment, but these sorts of secondary hazards, which are major hazards, are taking over for a while. And this may well be the picture that we have throughout the next rainy season. We could have this sort of hazard happening all the time.
Well, Richie had advised about a week or so ago that we could expect this, and he had said that the mud flows are not going to be finished from the volcanic eruption in 2021 alone, that it will continue in the rainy season in 2022 and maybe even beyond that.
It could do. It depends how big these rainy seasons are. So that's something that we are going to have to learn to live with and to protect against. I mean, lahars are fairly simple to protect against because if you're going to have heavy rainfall, you should expect lahars, and you basically know which valleys they're going to take place in. And having that information, you can be prepared for it.
Because what Richie had explained basically was that there are lots of volcanic stones and the ash quite voluminous, and that's resting on dirt, on earth, and that with the rains saturating that, and at the same time lubricating the earth, that all that will move with great speed, and particularly where it has already, the volcano had already destroyed trees, and that will come down in a very swift, massive floods. Is that what we see happening at the moment?
Oh yeah, that's the sort of thing we're seeing. Richie's just been reporting from the field, and he says that in Richmond, a lot of trees have been brought down in the waters because the lahars are very erosive. In one place, he says that the riverbank has been moved back by about 10 meters. That's 30 feet that it's eroded into the riverbank. And the other thing that he's seen this morning is that there's actually steam arising from some of the lahars.
Yes.
So they're actually going through hot deposits, and the water that's coming down is, I wouldn't say it's hot, it's probably warm in places, but this is actually what's called a hot lahar. And we're seeing all these things taking place as predicted. On
that side of the island, on the northwestern side, any reports which he has given from Fitzhugh, because when we have a lot of rain in the mountains normally, without the volcanic stones and ash generated by these episodes of eruption which we have had since April 9th, that you tend to have the usual flooding and landslides, and would block up bridges at Fitzhughes. The stream which is there gets very fierce, and it would wash houses away on the banks coming down. So it would be interesting. We had lifted the height of the bridge, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because there's a Bailey Bridge there by Kakata and in Fitzhughes, and I'm worried about that one, and also the river in Chateaubelair coming down by Plan. Those are two, and also Cumberland.
There's a lot of things that could be happening, and a lot of things that have to be checked. I mean, we haven't had any reports in yet from the windward side. I would hope that your engineers and your sort of surveyors out there working out what damage has been caused.
Well, one of the things is that at Cumberland, we had built a new bridge, very high, with assistance from Mexico. It's a $5 million US project there, and we put a lot of strong abutments. It's going to be, this flood would test it. I don't know if you have seen the videos from Rabaka.
I've seen some of them, yeah.
Well, you notice that part of the rail of the Rabaka Bridge is knocked off. Because what has happened is that deposits have at the ground of the bridge have risen, and therefore material and water and stones hit the railing. But at the moment, it seems as though the water is running down underneath the bridge itself. It's a flood, and the integrity of the bridge thus far has held. But nobody can go there because the river is raging.
Yes, so there's a danger of being cut off if you go there too early. But this is common in lahars and mud flows around the world, that they basically block up the drainage channels, they block up the culverts, they block up different streams, and then they alter their course. So you'll suddenly find them cutting the road in a place that you never expected them to do it. So
and I
subsides, and you can get engineers out there to assess the damage.
Yes, I expect that the same thing will happen north of Rabaka at up for instance at London, at Overland, Sandy Bay, Fancy. It's not, that is not good news at all. But we more than half expected it. What is going to be interesting too, because of the floods which we had, Rod, in 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013, they destroyed or damaged significantly bridges between Connery and Rabaka. And we built 5 bridges there, new bridges, stronger. We lifted them higher. The one at Connery, the one at Byra, the one at Munjung, the one at Caratal, and the one at Basin Hole. Richie had said that when we get heavy rains and the mud flows come, that they will test the engineering of those bridges. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So that I'm giving, and I'm trying to get reports. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I was at I couldn't join you in the studio this morning.
Okay. I
was trying to get as many reports as I possibly can. It's early days yet, but I'm very worried, and I haven't spoken to Michelle Forbes at Nemo yet, but I want to sound the warning, but know about it. For instance, people in South Rivers, particularly down at Pasha and up at Teak Street, have to be very careful because down at Pasha, places where the river overflows its banks, it damages houses and goes into people's homes.
Yeah.
And it sometimes that happens up at the Teak Street end too, even though there's some wall and river defense, but they, in fact, at both places, but from time to time, those river defenses are breached. And the same thing at Byra, the same thing at Caratal, because there are houses right there on the banks, structures, and also at Basin Hole and going all the way up.
Yeah.
Same thing in the upper reaches of Spring Village on the leeward side. Up in Dixon too, well, certainly Valley. The river that comes down past Perseverance and comes down. It's a big danger and a lot of money, a lot of expenses adding to our troubles.
There's another hazard that people should be aware of. Sometimes on the road you'll see there's flooding on the road, there's some fast-moving water, and it's maybe only 6 inches deep, and people think they can drive through it like a ford. But the water, because it's got material in it, is incredibly powerful and can actually sweep vehicles away. I know people who have lost vehicles trying to ford what they thought was just a stream that was running off the volcano.
Well,
so people are very careful of all the flooding that they come across.
Well, we had those experiences. In fact,
Yeah.
if it were not for the Rabaca Bridge, built in 2007, there are many, many occasions when people would not have been able to pass. In fact, on this occasion, without the Rabaca Bridge, we would not have been able to move as many people. So, in such a short period of time, in the evacuation. Well, I expect you would be monitoring the Lahars, continuing to do so from around midnight here up in Old Montrose, where I live, just on the outskirts of the city. On the western side, there were rains and it's pouring here now. It's not as the downpour is not as fierce as it was about 15, 20 minutes ago, but it's still raining quite a lot. And I could imagine what's happening up in the hills.
Yes, yeah.
Up in the mountains.
The signals that we're seeing from the Lahars are dying down. They've been dying down over the last maybe hour or so.
Okay.
But they could pick up again if there's more rain. All the softest stuff is now being sort of taken away initially. So maybe it's slightly harder to shift stuff off the mountain, but
Yes.
it would just another heavy downpour and it would bring fresh material down. So we basically have to wait until the band of rain is past.
Okay, well, I want to thank you again, Rod. I don't know if there are more questions from 705 Master Control.
Yes, no questions at this time, Prime Minister. So.
Well, thanks, Rod. And I want to know that Richie is safe, eh?
Don't worry, we look after him.
All right, good, thanks.
Thanks. Goodbye.
All the
Thank you
best.
very much, Stuart.
Well, it's a mixed morning, eh? And the ash and the eruptions haven't caused any death, but these lahars can kill people, eh? Because they're coming closer to human habitation where people live. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and praying. And people have to be very vigilant, very careful, very, very careful. We have been talking about it But it's only when it's happened that it sinks into people. The consequence of the volcano, the eruptions now combined with the rainy season, it's very dangerous, extremely dangerous. The scientists tell us that, and the real world is also telling us. I just want to indicate that yesterday, the Minister of Works gave to his cabinet colleagues a report from the United Nations group here, UNEP, the Environmental Program, United Nations Environmental Program, a preliminary document called 2021 St. Vincent Laha Ash, and a proposal for a long-term integrated risk management. And there are going to be some further details presented, and we'll have to do a costing this and how this is going to be done on a long term, and hopefully some of the resources which are raised by the UN through the UN appeal, the one which we launched, that we can do a thoroughgoing program. I want to report also that yesterday at the General Assembly, and you can find it on the UN website, and I think it would be on our mission website also. There is a resolution which was presented to the General Assembly, and it had, there are 193 countries in the United Nations system. And as of 11 o'clock yesterday, there were, when the resolution was brought to the floor of the General Assembly, there were 176 co-sponsors of the resolution. And I'm sure that others would have been co-sponsoring from the floor of the General Assembly. And this resolution, I haven't gotten the final number, but this would have been passed yesterday. There's a resolution with several paragraphs in the preamble, and the three operative clauses at the end. The General Assembly expresses its solidarity and support to the government and people of St. Vincent and Grenadines, as well as affected neighboring countries. 2, invites the international community to continue efforts to increase support, and encourages the international financial institutions and organizations to continue to contribute and to respond generously for the duration of the emergency and of the rehabilitation process in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as affected neighboring countries. And 3, request the Secretary General, to the extent of his authority, to support the rehabilitation efforts that are being made by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as affected countries. And, I'm pleased to indicate that there have been every country in Latin America and the Caribbean co-sponsored: the United States, Canada, Britain, all the countries in the European Union, almost every country in Africa, and I think the 2 or so out of the 54 who hadn't yet co-sponsored, 2 or 3, I think that's a question of awaiting instructions, and an odd, here and there, but overwhelmingly, this is a massive outpouring of support at the General Assembly for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I just want to point that out. And you notice they accepted the language which I used in my statement to the Security Council just over a week ago, encouraging the global community to contribute and to do so generously. not only during the period of humanitarian relief, but also the rehabilitation process. And it requests of the Secretary General to support the rehabilitation efforts, but he has already been doing that. So I am sure that we will see some further activity. As you well know, that from the very beginning, we had the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the way we had conceptualized, working in tandem with the regional institutions and the international community, that, you know, there are different institutions to which financial support can be given, so long as they work with our national institutions. For instance, international NGOs like the Red Cross, and they're working with NEMO. Institutions like CDEMA, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, and they've received, and other regional agencies and international NGOs have received significant sums from the development agencies of respective countries, particularly from Europe, Britain, Canada, the United States, because the resources which have come for this period from those countries have gone to regional institutions and international NGOs like the Red Cross, and they're all working with us and with NEMO, and we appreciate that very much. And of course, the government has been mobilizing resources through the World Bank, the IMF, the Caribbean Development Bank, and of course, bilaterally, which there have been pledges, and we hope to see that those pledges, a few have come to fruition already, and others I'm sure will come within a short period of time as time goes by. And I want to thank everybody who has contributed, and I continue to ask the families of Vincentians to send money to their kinfolk here, because so that they can buy things that they need. So, and day by day we are seeking to improve the coordination and fine-tuning the delivery. And persons, I'm urging persons who have not yet, for instance, persons who are in houses, private houses, that you must ensure that if you make a call to NEMO, you make the contact, please just follow up. If they do not follow up, because there are some cases in which it has been reported to me that there has been inadequate follow-up. But they're dealing with thousands of persons, several thousands of persons, in excess of 7,000 in private homes, and evacuees in private homes, and of course they're also dealing with persons who stayed back in the orange zone, and there are significant numbers of those who stayed back in the orange zone, and we are working on an ongoing basis to more perfect the distribution, and you will hear some further initiatives than those which are taking place on the 11th of May when we go to Parliament to appropriate monies for this continuation of the humanitarian relief as we go forward. In relation to education, yesterday we had a discussion at Cabinet on the CXC examinations and students' return. And the Minister of Education made a presentation. They're interested in having, well, the exams are going to be pushed back, the exam dates. In relation to the CPEA, they're looking more like mid to late July for the final exam for the CPEA in the four subjects of mathematics, language, arts, science, and social studies. And in relation to the CSEC and CAPE, the usual examination, but it's being looked at in relation to hopefully before the end of August. And what the ministry is seeking to do is to see for the grade 6 and the Form 5s. Grade 6 and the Form 5s, to see if we can have maybe 6 weeks, maybe a little bit more of face-to-face instruction. Obviously, we'd have to find other locations other than the schools because they are not available, and they are not likely to be available anytime soon. So the idea is sometime in the primary and secondary schools for the sixth form, for the grade 6 in primary schools, and the Form 5s in secondary school, to see if we can have some other locales, other buildings, community centers, and the like. And in that respect, I got during the cabinet meeting, I got I got the Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, on the phone, and he was on speakerphone in the cabinet, and we discussed the possibility of using the UWI, the unopened UWI building, the one which is not operational yet, but it has been formally opened. And he's favorable towards that and would get back to us and to discuss the terms on which we do that, which would not be onerous. Also, we received the assurance of the Vice Chancellor that for the Vincentian students, when we have the CSEC and the CAPE later, that the university will make allowances for our students to come there and later and to be integrated in a way the university would provide all the facilities for proper integration if our students or when our students join late. Then there's special consideration being given for some relief in financial terms to students from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. and the government has initiated discussion, and very much so Pam Barber, who is our honorary consul in Jamaica, and Pam has sent a letter to the Vice Chancellor in this regard, and I spoke to Hilary Beckles yesterday, so Hilary on that very question. Allied to the matter of education, and an initiative which I started with Prince Charles, His Royal Highness, we're trying to work out with a university in the United Kingdom a certain number of scholarships, university scholarships, both for face-to-face instruction and for distance learning, teaching and learning, for undergraduates and graduates and graduate degrees at the university. And when we have finalized this matter, I will naturally report to the country, but this is an important initiative. There is one matter which I want to raise, and if Thornley Myers is listening, I'd like him to call in. I understand that the bills, I've been advised that the bills from VINLEC in many cases are higher now than they were last month. So I called Townley Myers yesterday to inquire of this. And they had put out a release. I hadn't seen the release which they had put out. But what he explained to me is that many of these bills, a large number of these bills, are not for the 31 day period, but for up to 40-odd days, because they were unable, the meter readers were unable to get to read meters within the 31 days because of volcano. And in some cases, they have not been able to get to read the meters, so they did what they did was simply did an estimation, which if it's an overestimate or underestimate, it would be corrected as per usual in the normal process. But I suggested to him that a release, while the release is useful, and I read the release, and the release is written in language which you could have been much clearer. In any case, this can't just be settled by just a release. I suggested that the leadership go on radio and go on TV, the leadership of VINLEC, and explain so that if this month you're being asked to pay a bill, which is, and in any event, you have a moratorium on the payments that is in place, and you get a bill for 40 days or 40-odd days rather than 30 days, 31 days. The next time, your bill will be for 20 days or less. So the correction will then be made, so that there's no need for unnecessary anxiety. But I believe that the management has an obligation to come and explain it thoroughly and repeatedly so that people will hear it. They put out the release, and I know the release, when you read it carefully, you understand what it is. But there's sensible persons read the release and told me that the release said that the volcano humbugged the meters, and that is why they gone crazy. Essentially, that's the excuse. But when you read the release doesn't say that. The release talked about the meter reading and billing process, not about the meters themselves. So I think I'm giving the explanation what was given to me yesterday by Townley, but I told him that senior members of his team have an obligation to go and tell the public, because you from that misunderstanding you get some proposals which don't make a lot of practical sense. Like, for instance, that during in a sense, meaningless, the proposal that you don't suspend the account, you cancel the account for the month, for the period since La Soufriere. But if you're not in Chateaubriand or you're not in Sandy Bay, you wouldn't have your electricity on. You'd have pulled out the plug for all your appliances, and you wouldn't have on any light, so you wouldn't use the electricity. So if you can use the electricity, there's no electricity consumed. You know, so and if they did any estimate of persons in those areas for that period, that estimate would obviously be nonsensical, because people are not down there. So I think all those things will have to be explained by VINLEC. And when these things are happening, you have to do these things properly, so that there is no additional anxiety caused. You do it and you explain it, not just by a press release, but a full and proper explanation through the media. And I'm hoping that is being done. As I've given it all this, so I don't know if it has been done.
Prime Minister,
Yes.
there'll be a press conference at 11 o'clock this morning by Finlec, which will be broadcasting live.
Well, praise God. Praise God. So that could be dealt with. Thanks, Stanley. I am so well. There's no need for him to call in then. Just that. I don't know if you have any questions to ask of me. I have dealt with, I think, the most important things. By the way, I want to ask people on things in respect of food. Look, if NEMO, the social development, or Red Cross, or whoever send out food packages, and your neighbor gets and you don't get, don't start to quarrel about people don't like you or is only one set of people they give in to. No. You will get maybe there's an administrative problem, but let's not break our social solidarity which we have on these sort of things. And don't think the worst of human nature and the persons are good people who are doing the distribution. Similarly, a church is being given the distribution to do in an area. Don't start to quarrel with the pastor because you didn't get us the pastor only giving people who are in the church, because that is not so. Don't manufacture things and fight over these things. Because it's good and decent people who are doing these distributions. They may not get it right 100% of the time. But please, let's all just be good and respectful of each other. And there's a problem. Say to the pastor, well, pastor, my family didn't get anything, and, we are in need. And the pastor would or should properly say, all right, give me a name and telephone number, let me call the people, let me send them an email and tell them that, enough was not sent, so you didn't get. And there'll be more than one person. But it's a ton load of food which is going out. And please don't make up stories that a truck driver leave Camden Park going to somewhere, but they divert and let off the food, all the boxes by some place, and where they're supposed to go didn't get. There's a connection between how many boxes leave Camden Park by the depot, the main warehouse, and what go into the particular location. And there has to be checks. But if you have any evidence that anybody who is driving does anything untoward, take the vehicle, take the time and the day, and report it. And you can report it to any number of places. You can report it to NEMO, or you can send it to my office, or the office of any other minister, including and especially the Ministry of Social Development, Randall Brewster, because they're the ones, the Ministry of Social Development, within NEMO, which is doing this. Of course, Saboto's ministry distributing the love boxes. And there will be coming vouchers for you to go and your World Food Program is going to do that, and so too the government. And when the government does it, just like World Food Program, you'll be able to buy food with the vouchers at the particular designated supermarket or food outlets, but you're not going to be able to buy Ramal cigarette with it, for instance. So we are in this thing for the long haul, It's a real multi-sided challenge. Let's just work with one another. Please. I don't know if you have any questions or any has come in on WhatsApp.
Not at this time, Prime Minister.
Well, I want to thank everybody, and I just want to ask for responsibility in the shelters by everybody concerned. And I'm urging the persons in the shelter to take the COVID test, and I'm urging yours quite strongly to take the vaccine. It's for your health and that of your neighbor and your family. And those persons who are in valleys and near rivers and the like who live there, remember the mudslides. They're very dangerous. They can kill you. So don't take chances, and they move with swiftness. And so too with these the rainfalls. Please, I'm begging you. All right, listen to me. Be careful. And let's stay together, and it's one love. God bless.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister.
Fine.
Thanks. Been listening to in Soufriere, the morning edition. We just had an update from Roderick Stewart over the past 24 hours. In addition to that, we heard also from Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves. And we are also receiving additional reports of flooding in some areas. Seeing messages and also some images on social media. Reports of the area in the CK Grave supermarket, Annisvale. Traffic unable to pass in that area. I'm looking at some messages coming in at this time. Also some videos from across the island showing some flooding in some areas and land slippages. We ask that you be very, very cautious as you proceed today. Don't take for granted flooded areas that you can pass. It's not wise to do so. We are experiencing continuous rainfall. The rain is continuing at the moment, not just in Kingstown, but in different areas. The forecast from the Met Office this morning indicates that we will have additional rainfall. So we hope that you would take all the necessary precautions on your end to safeguard yourself and your property at this time. If you're living in an area where it's unstable, where the land is unstable and you have slippage happening around you, please leave that area. Of course, you want to make sure that you are safe and your family is safe at this time as the rain continues. And do continue to send us those messages and let us know what it's like in your area. And if we can get a few persons indicating what the conditions are like in their area, we'll have that for you as well. Once we're able to reach Miss Michelle Forbes of FEMA, we'll also bring her in on this morning. Stay with us. This is NBC broadcasting from studios located at Richmond Hill in Kingstown. So what we'll do now, if it is that you're experiencing whatever blockages, landslides, land slippages in your area, please give us a call, 457-2705. Tell us what is happening in your area so that we can ensure that the relevant authorities is aware of the situation in the different communities, the different areas. I've seen reports as well of the Joshua Center being flooded. Videos on social media just come to light there. Also some flooding in the Massey Supermarket Kingstown area, vicinity of the entrance to the customs and excise, the customs area, the port. There's also a landslide in just past the Richmond Hill Gardens as you head out of Kingstown. We've also seen land slippages in Rockies. Some properties affected by land slippage in the Rockies area. We ask that you take extra caution as you travel the roads today. I think we have a call online, so let's see who's online with us this morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Give us a call at 457-205-516-350-9891. That's what is happening in your area this morning as we continue to experience a very heavy downpours. And we continue to see images and videos of some of the ongoing flooding in the different areas and also some landslides and land slippages. We hope that you'll be able to share with us this morning what is happening in your community.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just calling to inform you, to tell you to inform Nemo that there's a land slippage at Town Hill.
At Town Hill.
But the Walker building, the bank break down there and it possibly could break the back of the house for the Walker.
The Walker
house. You know Walker right up, he used to pilot long time ago, but he dead now. His children and them, most of them away. But one of his daughter home in the building. And the Walkers now come down and come by my place and tell me that. And I seen it really, they have a problem, right?
Okay.
To inform Nemo. They might have to do something to the lady in the house.
All right, I'm sure they're listening. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Fine.
Thank you. 457-2705, that's in the Town Hill area at the Walker's property. There's a land slippage there. 457-2705. I believe we have another caller online. Good morning. Good morning, caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Calvin, what's up? Greetings.
Greetings, Mr. Jeffers from the Met Services.
Of course. How things going?
Going quite okay for the time being, but just the person we wanted to hear from this morning to give us an update as to what's happening with the weather.
Okay, yeah. So, Calvin, what is happening is that we're having some unstable conditions around, and it's being enhanced at the upper atmosphere. Right? So, what is happening? We have rainfall persisting throughout. Started just about early morning. They had a break, and then it started again just around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, thereabouts. And we expect it to continue for most of the morning. Right? So we have been receiving reports of mudslides. We had also reports of flooding in most of the area, but in the green zone, more so in the green zone in terms of heavy rainfall. On radar, for most of the morning, I was seeing a lot of heavy activity confined more to the southern part of the island. So that is what we are seeing now. Presently, most of it is kind of offshore in terms of the heavy intensity, pretty offshore on the southern section. But as I said, going into the afternoon, we could expect a little bit more shower activity. So we just want persons to adhere to the advisory that is out. Persons along rivers and streams, because seismic are also reporting via their instrument network, LAHAs, in the, well, along the volcano, downstream from the volcano, I should say. So that is something that is very dangerous. And we've been seeing videos in those areas of the very fast-flowing rivers. Right? So we have to be extremely mindful of the rivers and the flooding on our side.
Any improvement forecast for tomorrow?
No, we actually, in terms of this intensity, I would say yes, but it would continue to linger around. And of course, as I've just said, there's pros and cons, because the rainfall was needed for cleaning purposes, but if we still have debris in the drains and so on, it's kind of will exacerbate the flooding that we are getting now. So that is what is happening now.
All right. Well, thanks for providing us with that update, and do continue to keep us informed at the Met Office as to what's happening with the weather.
All right. Thank you so much, Calvin. Have a good day.
Great. You too as well. So that was Billy Jeffers, manager of the SVG Meteorological Services, providing an update as it relates to the weather conditions. And as he mentioned, we're expecting the rains to continue well into this afternoon. So once again, please, if you're traveling, and if you don't need to travel, please don't venture on the road this time. Understand there are persons who are trying to pass various roadways that are flooded. We remind you, it may seem safe to do so, but don't take the chance. If it is that you have to turn back for your own safety and for the safety of those traveling with you, please do so. We ask you to exercise extreme caution at this time. I was just informed as well that the Society of Fund for the Blind in Kingstown is flooded at the moment, and they're requiring some assistance. There are two blind individuals there at the moment, and an appeal via a WhatsApp message for some assistance at the Society Often for the Blind at Kingstown. The property is flooding at the moment. Other reports coming in of flooding around Kingstown via WhatsApp in the different areas. I've seen some videos of around just in front of the Port Authority area in Kingstown. There's some flooding there as well. And if it is that you wish to report what's happening in your area, give us a call and let us know what is happening, so at least we can have the authorities look into this in terms of the cleanup and the response. 457-2705-516-350-9891. We head back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. You're alive.
This is Nemo.
No, it's not. This is NBC Radio.
Oh, well, I'm just trying to get Nemo. Could you give me Nemo number, please? If you know it.
All right. Nemo's number is 456-2975. 456.
Wait a while.
456.
Hello, I'm not hearing you. Hello, I'm hearing you.
456. Yes, I'm hearing you.
6
29
2 9
75.
6 what?
62975. Did you get that? All right, I think there's an issue with the connection there, but the number for Nemo is 456-2975. 456-2975. Just that you make a note of that as well. So as we get ready to wrap up this segment, once again, if there is anything in your area you wish to report to us at this time, give us a call and let us know so that we can bring it to the attention of those at Nemo who are tuned in and following us this morning. Good morning, caller.
and the outside.
Sanssouci, that's around the drop.
Yes,
All right, and that's water from the road.
yes.
All right, well, thanks for letting us know that. Thanks.
All right.
So the Sanssouci area reports there of water from the road. So before we end off this segment, we want to give you the opportunity to report what is happening in your area. And if there's something you need to bring to the attention of Branxa as well, the number is 457-2975, 457-2975, and Nemo's number is 456-2975. Just a 6 and a 7 differentiating both numbers there so that you can easily remember them. Once again, Branx's number is 457-2975, and Nemo is 456-2975. So lines have gone quiet, so at this point I'll end off my stint with you. We'll be joined during the course of the morning by Javel Frank. For now, I'll hand you back to Johnny Stricker. I'll sit with you for a bit until Javel Frank gets in the chair. Just hoping that you do have a safe one today. Remember, if there is anything you need to report to the relevant authorities, Branxa is 457-2975. 457-2975, and the Nemo is at 456-2975. 456-2975. Thanks very much for listening. Our morning edition. Just getting a message. The hotline number for Nemo is 526 rather. Sorry, 526 3000 526 3000. That's the hotline number from Nemo. Additionally, you can call 458-6366, 458-6366, and the request is that you use those numbers. We'll continue to repeat those for you during the course of the morning, as Nemo will be taking your calls on those numbers specifically if you wish to report what is happening in your area. Once again, the numbers, I'll give you the numbers once more. The hotline is 526-3000, 526-3000, or 458-6366, 458-6366. Those are the two numbers that you should use at this time as per the request of Nemo. We'll have these numbers repeated for you during the course of the morning so that you can report what is happening in your area. Once again, we hope that you would remain safe at this time. And as further information comes to hand, we will, of course, bring that to you as well.